have to make room. Hi friends, and welcome back to the homestead. If you're new here, my name is Lynn, and welcome to my garage. We are actually going to be doing a canning video today. Yay! Other than my Jam It Up June video I did for June, I haven't done a lot of canning, and I've had a few of you ask me, Lynn, are you going to be doing any canning videos soon? Yes, the answer is yes. But a lot of things are not ready here yet in my neck of the woods, in my own personal garden or even at the farmers markets that are local. I mean, they certainly bring in things that aren't local, but that are local, just aren't ready. It's been a rough garden season. I was thinking it was just me, and yet at my Women in Homesteading group that I am a part of, just this past Friday, they all mentioned it's been rough. The weather has just been We've had a lot of rain, some pretty cool temperatures. I mean, we did have that one week where, sorry, I have an itch. We did have that one week where it was insanely hot, like 110 Fahrenheit was one of our hot days. And then we went right into fall. I'm not kidding. Cool at night, not too hot during the day. So the poor garden is confused, aren't we all? And today it is pouring rain, so this is a great day to get out and do this canning video. I had hoped to do this out in my outdoor kitchen, but that's okay. We will work with it in the regular kitchen. You may be wondering, why are we starting this video in the garage? Well, I'm going to answer you that question. For those of you who are new, I'll just give you a recap. Last year, David, we built this garage room in our garage, obviously, mainly because we have this very expensive treadmill. I'm going to show you here in just a second. Right there, that's pushed up against the wall right now. Very expensive, and it's used a lot. David and Aiden use it a lot. My vertigo doesn't allow me to walk on the treadmill, unfortunately, anymore, but that's okay. I can walk outside with the dogs. Anyway, that does not like to be cold at all. And there is no room in our house, unfortunately, to keep it. We just don't have the space. And we needed to do something to protect it because it was a big investment, and the computer, like I said, does not like being cold. So we decided, well, we need to build a room we can keep it in, and obviously for other things. I was excited because I thought, oh, maybe I can finally have a space where I could come out, craft, crochet, you know, my space. And David agrees. He says that I deserve to have a space where I can come out and decompress and crochet out here, and that leaves the TV in the main living room freed up for them to watch something that they might want to watch. We actually have a large TV that used to be in our living room, and then somehow we got another television. David's obsessed with really big TVs, and Aiden said, well, I'll take the one that was in the living room. It's been in his room now almost over 2 years, and he doesn't watch it, so he said he wants it out of there. It's taking up a lot of space. I said, perfect. We'll put it down here, because we only stream anyway, so I can watch my YouTube and my cooking shows and all that while I'm out here crafting or crocheting, and we'll have space for the TV out here if we can get all this done. We have a cute little fireplace. We're looking for a good deal on a chair, either used or really, really good deal on new, but I am checking marketplace and yard sales. We've started putting carpets out here. Like, if this can all slide down, I'm hoping to make this a nice area with the fireplace and a chair, and we'll put the TV up on one of these walls. So I'm really excited to get that done, but some things need to be done first before I can do that. And one of them is freeing up some space in these freezers. So for the past week, with David being kind of, out of commission for a little bit from his surgery, which, by the way, he's healing beautifully, I needed to do something that I could do by myself because I was going crazy. So I decided to start rearranging out here, going through my totes that I did not need things in, going through my craft stash again. I did this in the spring and I did it again this past week. And again, I am trying to make space where I'm just trying to create more space out of space, as David says. So David and I talked, and one of the things is if we need to work on the other side of the garage. That is a major, major priority. We need to get that space organized because when we have a lot of renos that we want to do late summer, early fall, and we can't do them until that side of the garage is more organized to make it easier and just makes more sense. We are going to be able to take those totes and put them out there also. So that's going to give us more space. I'm telling you all this because I also may be trying, we have 4 freezers. We have these 2 uprights and these 2 chest freezers. Trying to get maybe rid of one of the chest freezers. If not rid of, at least out in the other section of the garage. So that led me to think we need to start getting some of the frozen meats that are in this freezer to freeze up some space. Also for some other things that I don't necessarily can, but I freeze, like my bell peppers. I need to freeze up space. This is primarily our meat freezer. I'll just give you a quick ta-da. And yeah, we need to get some of this meat shelf stable for a variety of reasons. One, convenience of just having the meat already done, especially for lunches. Dave and I are struggling with healthy lunch options. This way we can just go to the jarred, either meals or meat and make a meal out of them. So that's one reason. And like I said, just to free up the space that's out here in the freezer. So I'm decided I'm going to take this whole month of July while the garden will slowly start trickling in this month. It will hopefully ramp up in August with the Every Bit Counts challenge. I'm praying and hoping. But for the month of July, it's still a little slow. Lots of herbs coming in, but not a lot of other things yet. So to help keep me honest and to make sure I follow through with my plan, I am challenging myself this whole month of July, and I am calling it Just Can It, where I will can at least one thing every week from one of our 4 freezers, probably mostly meats, but who knows, there could be some surprises hidden in these freezers. And I will be sharing them all with you the whole month of July. And if anyone would like to join me in this challenge, you're more than welcome to join. It's an open challenge. And just use the hashtag JustCanIt. And please, all I ask is that you mention my channel somewhere in your video as the host of this challenge. So maybe I won't be the only one trying to make room for this year's harvest in the freezers. So let's go into the kitchen and start canning up. Today, it's going to be beef.
My wish is that you don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. I'm running, and you should too, and hit that subscribe button. I know what you've been asking yourself. How can I make a difference? I'm just one person.
I can make a difference, but I'm just one person.
Well, my friends, I'm here to tell you that it's free, quick, and easy. Share this video on your social media and make that difference today.
Okay, we're back in the kitchen. So like I said, the first thing I'm starting with is some beef, and it might actually be a lot of beef this first week or so of canning up the freezer, but we're gonna be doing stew beef. As you can see, I have about 4 pounds of stew beef here, and I did cut them up into smaller pieces. Just wanna show you, just a little bit smaller because they were really big chunks, some of them. So that's what we're gonna be working on now. I really thought long and hard, probably longer than I really needed to, but what was I going to make with all this stew beef? Was I gonna make it into a recipe or just plain? I really had to think about it. Think. And I've decided I'm just gonna leave it as pure plain beef. That way it's more versatile for what we'll want. I can turn this into beef tacos by just adding seasoning. I can turn this into beef and gravy by just adding gravy. I can turn this into beef stew just by adding some other ingredients in a soup pot, heat it up, boom, we'll have soup. I do can whole meals sometimes, and we do have quite a few on the shelf right now. I have some beef stew, I have some chicken pot pie mix, obviously without the flour in it. We have a couple of soups. I have a lot of that, but I decided I wanted to make this a little bit more versatile. So that's what we're doing. And it's a lot easier to can if you're just going to can pure beef. And I'm doing it raw pack, which means I'm not adding any water or any broth because the meat's gonna make its own juices and broth. And I really like that. It's really good. I'm not even gonna add any salt because again, I wanna keep this more versatile, and you can always add salt when you go to cook it. For me, us personally, we find the canning process really intensifies your salt and spices, and I find it makes things a little too salty for our liking. We don't eat a lot of salt because I do have high blood pressure, even though what we do eat is the pink Himalayan sea salt. I am trying to switch over to Redmond's sea salt. I am. It's just very expensive. Even though that is better than certainly the processed salt, I find it too salty when you can. So literally, it's just going to be the beef in jars into the pressure canner. Very simple. I'd almost dare say this is a beginner-friendly pressure canning recipe if you want to dive into pressure canning. And I promise you, you won't regret it if you try. So today I'm also going to be using my 4-jar lids, canning lids, the best lids on the market by none. Love them. I actually got to meet the family who runs 4 jars down in Florida back in April, and I will share that either down in the description box or up here somewhere at the end of this video, the video of that. Very nice family, wonderful family. And if you use my code Bucket List Homestead, you can get 10% off anything that's on their website, not just lids and rings. There's also a wonderful vacuum sealer that they have out now. They have a really nice pressure canner at an amazing, amazing price. They told me that they just want more people to be canning and getting more of their own food on their shelves to be a little bit more self-sustainable. So they are selling it basically at cost, the pressure canner. And it sells out fast. So yeah, anything that's on that website, you can get 10% off if you use my code. So, okay. I'm also using wide mouth jars. These are my favorite. I love wide mouth jars. They're so much easier to clean for one. They're easier to fill. They're easier to get the food out. I really like them, but you can use regular mouth, and obviously we're going to be using pint jars. I have 6 ready. We'll see. Most recipes call for, what is it? I'm just looking at this recipe I'm using here. 7 to 9 pounds, which will do 9 pint jars. I have half that amount of meat, so I half the jar. So we'll see how we're gonna do. I'm also going to be using my Nesco right here. I'll show you that up close when we get to it. Nesco electric pressure canner. Yes, it's an electric pressure canner. I've shown you many videos on this, on how to use it. I will also link those here for anyone who wants to go back and see a slower down version of step-by-step, because today we probably won't show all that. I love it, highly recommend it. I got it off Amazon. I will link it down below. Amazon Prime Days are coming up, and that's when I got my first one. I now have 2, just because the only drawback is you can't double stack and you can't do an insane amount of jars, but for our family, this fits our needs, having even 1 some days. I might actually be able to get away with 1, but I have a second one ready just in case. I can fit all 6 into 1, but just in case I have to do more, I'm gonna have that ready. Yeah, so Prime Days is coming up. That's when I got my first one, and a crazy good deal. If I see it during Prime Days, I will link it in the community tab to let all you know, because it definitely was an amazing price. And I love it. I've done a lot of research before I got it. I feel comfortable. I've been using mine for about 2 years now. I feel very comfortable using it. If not, you can certainly do this with your normal pressure canner, which I still have. I was gonna use it outside today, but like I said, the weather's not cooperating at all. So we're gonna be using my favorite anyway, the electric one. Okay, I also have all my jars washed and clean. I checked for all nicks. Make sure you wanna check for nicks and cracks. I do put my lids in hot water. I know they say you don't need to. I stopped doing it last year, and I had, 2 years ago, and I had a lot of jar lids fail. Some even 4-jar lids. Definitely the Ball lids and a couple other brands that I used. So I've gone back to putting them in hot water, and I've been having, knock on wood, much more success. No failures yet this year since I've started going back to putting them in hot water. But again, it's up to you. I do have a debubble stick, but I really don't need it today because this is just gonna be meat. We're not adding any liquid. And I have my handy dandy funnel. I love this one. Again, I got it off of Amazon. And it has the measurements for your headspace. A little bit handier to have. And I have a clean cloth and some vinegar, just in case we get some fat or grease around the top of your jars. You want to wipe them all off to make sure you get a good seal. And that is it. We're ready to start filling these jars. My jars are room temperature, and the meat is also room temperature, and the water in my canner will be room temperature, just so we don't have any surprises if you put a hot jar in with cold water or vice versa. So we're going to pack this. You don't want to do it so loose that you have a lot of space, but you also don't want to do it so tight that you don't leave your 1 inch, and that's what we need, 1 inch of head space. So I have very clean hands, by the way. I washed them, and we're just gonna stick this down in. I'm pushing just a little bit with 2 fingers, but like I said, I don't want it too tight, and I think we're gonna get just a little more in there. And we're going to check our head space here. And that's our inch. And that's all there is to it. I'll show you one more time before I heat it, speed up the video. Okay. Definitely can get some more. Don't think I'm gonna need more than 6 jars. I'm gonna be lucky if I get the 6, we'll see. Okay. So we got 4 pints and 1 half pint, which that's okay. That would make like a good lunch. And then I like to step back and I just like to look and see if I see any big gaps. I just push down a little bit harder. I just want to make sure there's no huge gaps. So I'm gonna wash my hands real quick, and then we're gonna wipe off all the rims of the jar and put our lids on. Regardless of whether you're using an electric pressure canner or the traditional pressure canner, it's 75 minutes for this size jar. I'm still gonna do 75 even for the half pint because there's only the 1, so 75 minutes. Should say 10 pounds of pressure for my elevation for 75 minutes. So double check your elevation and see, but it's 10 pounds of pressure, and that's what this little knob here is 10 pounds. Okay. As you can see, remember we didn't add any broth or water or anything. I'm hoping you can tell. It's still really hot, but it did make its own juices. You can see that right there. 4 pints and a half of canned beef to go on our shelf. I let that come to depressurize naturally. You never want to force any kind of pressure canner. Just let it depressurize naturally. I then cracked the lid for about 10 minutes. And then, as you saw, I brought them out and put them on a canning mat that I made. But you can use a towel, anything. Just make sure you're putting your hot jars on some kind of mat. And there we go. That's 4 pints and a half of canned beef on our shelf, which is amazing. But more importantly, that's 4 packages of stew beef out of the freezer. So there is the very first thing I've canned for my Just Can It July challenge. I'm really excited to plan some more things. I think the next thing I'm gonna do will probably be meals, maybe, we'll see. I like the idea of having ingredients and then you can kind of make what you want. But having a meal in a jar is also very convenient. So we'll see where we go from here. It's gonna be an interesting month, friends. I am so excited. Until then, take care, God bless, just can it, and we'll see you all soon.